Good afternoon, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest. The sun is shining and, Giants coming home, so it's going to be perfect. Today, we're going to be talking about the JP system that came out with double vision cards. Now, that's going to be able to set a main vision card and a sub vision card. Specifically, we're going to be talking about how that works, what that looks like, what the stat percentages are that are going to go into this. We're also going to be looking at how setting a sub VC might be better for specific vision cards as opposed to other vision cards. And we're going to be looking at the specific percentages of the party buffs and the individual buffs. So this is going to be a very chock full video. Let's get ready. Let's go ahead and dig in. Now, before I jump into the specifics of what we're going to be doing in this video, it will be segmented out in the video down below. We do have a couple special thanks to give to the community for getting this information for us. A special thanks to Valks for compiling the War of the Television spreadsheet, which has all of this information on it. Thank you to Bismarck for gathering this information through the data mining, and Banana for organizing the spreadsheet. I also had some assistance from a JP player by the name of Chaos Ruler. Most of these people are all on the main Discord for War of the Visions, and they were able to kind of independently verify some of this information that we're going to be talking about. Now, basically what we're going to go through here is we're going to talk about what is a secondary vision card, what is the secondary vision card buff, why it's important, what are the stat transfer percentages, what are the party and single unit VC transfer percentages. Can you show me an example? We'll be going through a specific vision card and highlighting how all of these things kind of work together. And then we'll talk about how this is going to change the way we look at vision cards going into the future. And if you are looking at the vision cards right now, particularly the new Christmas vision card that came out, comparing it to Ahirman, there's lots of questions on, is it good? Is it not good? And being able to have the lens of a secondary vision card system is going to be really important in understanding the place of some of these vision cards that maybe overlap with some other vision cards. Now, the first thing you need to know with the 2-year anniversary, of course, is that the sub vision card system came out. So if you are level 99, your character is level 99, they actually have to be leveled to 99. They can't just have level 99 unlocked. They are going to be able to equip a sub vision card. Now, a sub vision card is going to give you a percentage of the stats, a percentage of the individual buff, and a percentage of the party buff and the max level elemental party effect to all of your units. So these are actually set percentages, and we actually have those percentages. So we're going to spend a lot of our discussion talking about those, because if you understand the percentages and how they work and what they apply to, you can really understand what vision cards are going to be best in the secondary slot and which vision cards are going to be best in the main vision card slot. The first thing we're going to look at is the primary stats on the vision card. This is going to be the vision card stats that directly apply to your character. This would be like attack, magic, HP. In some cases, it's going to be agility, dexterity, luck, defense, spirit. This is going to be the stats that are in the upper portion of the vision card box that are, on every single vision card. Basically, you have two different categories. You have a category for attack and magic, and then you have a category for every other stat. For attack and magic, it's going to go 10%, 15%, 20%, 25%, and maxing out at 30%. Now, these percentage transfer rates are based off of the awakening level of the vision card. So if you have a max leveled, max awakened vision card, you are going to be able to have 30% of the attack and magic transfer from that vision card to your character. If you only had it maybe 3 stars out of 4 stars for awakening, you're only going to have about 25% stat transfer. So the most important thing to know, first of all, is that it is tied to your awakening level for the vision card, and that there are basically two different categories. There's attack and magic, and then there's HP, TP, AP, defense, spirit, dex, agility, and luck. This is going to be particularly important in regards to dexterity, which we will talk about in a little bit towards the end of this video as we look at the different vision cards, because there are vision cards that have a large amount of dexterity on them that do the same thing as vision cards that don't have a large amount of dexterity on them. So understanding what vision cards are better for the sub vision slot card slot is going to be really important. Now, besides the primary stat, you have everything else that's on the vision card. That's going to be the individual unit buff, that's going to be the party-wide buff, and that's going to be the max level vision card party-wide buff as well. Now, all of these can be categorized by percentage into different categories of how they stack up with other units or with other vision cards or party buffs or whatever it is, right? So, for example, let's say that you have two-headed dragon on. That's going to have a 100% transfer rate for max damage, right? So that means that setting this in your secondary slot, two-headed dragon is never going to be set ever in a primary slot ever again. Two-headed dragon, because it's used for that max damage, is always going to be set in a secondary vision card slot because 100% of the max damage up transfers to the party. Now, one thing to consider with this as well is that because we have sub vision cards and we have main vision cards now, you might have a question of what happens if I have max damage in my main vision card slot and max damage in my secondary vision slot. Well, you can actually gain the effects of both of these. So you can have up to 2 instances, one on your main and one on your sub slot of the same stat. So you could have max damage up from two-headed dragon in your sub stat, and you could have max damage up from, say, I don't know, Mind Flayer in your main stat, and they will stack together. You could have attack plus 50% as your main stat in your main vision cards, and you could have like attack plus 25%, although it's going to be slightly nerfed, in your sub vision card stats, and that will stack. It only stacks once though, right? So it's not like you can set like a whole bunch of attack plus espers or vision cards, right? And have like attack plus 5 million%. You can only have one iteration on main and sub, kind of similar to how we can right now with the main vision cards. Now, in terms of the rest of the kind of transfer percentages, it gets a little murky. And this is where you're going to be looking at this chart probably for a long time to understand what the percentage of transfer is for party buffs and individual unit buffs from sub vision cards. And there's a couple important notes here, which I've highlighted in blue. But let's just go ahead and go down the list and we'll talk about it as we go. So status ailment resistance, acquired AP up is going to have a 80% transfer rate. Important here, cards like Golem, right? HP plus 25% to the party are going to have a 75% transfer rate. HP, TP, Dexterity, Defense, and Spirit debuff resistance are all going to have a 75% transfer resistance. This is really important to understand because if you have a party-wide effect with, say, Dexterity plus 35%, which a lot of the max vision cards have, if you have HP like plus 25%, which a lot of vision cards have as a max level buff, it's going to be really clear that these vision cards are more designed to be secondary VCs because that HP and Dexterity, percentage-wise, more of it is going to transfer as a buff to your party. Now, there may be situations where that's not the case, but it is going to be really important to understand that for HP, TP, Dexterity, this is going to be the best bang for your buck in terms of setting sub-vision cards, besides, of course, like, you know, max damage or what have you. Critical evasion is going to have a 66% transfer rate. Luck is going to have a 48% transfer rate. Attack and magic will have a 46% transfer rate. Important note on attack and magic right now, there is some graphical bugs on the JP side that they are aware of in terms of attack transfer percentages, specifically with Fenrir. Fenrir, with his attack bonus transferring to the party in the sub slot, registers as plus 23%, when like Ifrit in the sub slot registers as plus 24%. They should be the same percent because they should be impacted by the same modifier or percentage of transfer. So keep that in mind. There are like little errors here and there. A couple people think what's going on is that any of the elemental max level stats are kind of being affected by a -1 modifier, which may be possible, but it doesn't really affect anything in the large scheme of things. You're just going to want to keep remembering, you know, maybe if you see something odd, that might be what you see. 45% transfer of crit damage and killer effects. That would include Maneater. 42% transfer of accuracy, evasion, and critical hit rate. 40% transfer of elemental attack, elemental resistance, attack type attack, that's going to be like slash attack, attack type resistance, that's going to be like slash resistance, weapon penetration, and enmity, also known as hate. Weapon penetration is a little bit weird, and it's important to note here that they kind of did different types of testing with it, and it seemed to be confirmed 55% transfer, but they weren't really sure, so I just wanted to put a note here on the side. 30% transfer for defense and spirit, and then really important to know as well, 20% transfer for single target resistance and AoE resistance. What this means is you are not going to set Odin, right, as your sub VC. You're not going to set, well, you might, but you're not going to set the Ildira VC, right? Because that AoE resistance is going to be only 20%, right? So 20% of 20, if I could do my math right now, so you would only get 4 AoE resist from that. So important things to consider here. This is kind of the go-to chart for any of your references. I do know there's a couple of things that are not on here, and that's of course because they've been data mining. The kind of TLDR on things that aren't on here, like cast time and stuff, if you're setting it in a sub slot, it's going to get about 50%, is the TLDR for like jump time reduction or ability activation reduction. So if it's not on here and you're looking for it, consider it 50%. Let's go ahead and get into an example though, so you guys can kind of put all of these numbers to application. And let's go ahead and look at the 2nd Division Calum vision card. A vision card that has been underappreciated for a very long time. I think may actually be getting some use here in the near future. But as you can see, base attack is going to be 92. Base attack is going to be 80 magic. And then 346 HP. So for attack and magic, you get 30% of the stats. So a unit equipping Calum is going to, as the secondary vision card, is going to get 27 attack, 24 magic, and then it's going to get 50% of the HP. So it's going to get 173 HP. So far, so good, right? Calum does have 3 different buffs on it. For the individual unit, they get slash resistance up 10. Party-wide, you get dexterity up 35% and earth unit accuracy up 25. Let's go ahead and apply what we know now to those buffs to kind of have an understanding of how Calum is going to function as a secondary VC. So you get 75% transfer of dexterity as a party ability, right? So you're going to get dexterity up 26% to your entire party. You get 42% transfer of accuracy, so you're going to get earth unit accuracy up plus 10, and you get 40% transfer of attack type resistance, so the individual unit equipping this is going to get slash attack resistance up 4. Now, if that's confusing to you, it's a little confusing to me, but I understand all of it. It's going to be one of those situations where you're going to just have to know kind of those key points, right? Which stats, as you are theory crafting and building your builds, are going to be best in the sub slot. I think it's crazy that Calum can add dexterity up 26% party-wide to all of your units. If you consider the amount of dexterity that is, that's almost like that's, depending on the situation, this could be a guaranteed critical hit in a rainbow formation, which we haven't really been able to hit before, right? Without setting Calum as the main vision card. So being able to understand, like, you're getting a huge amount of dexterity plus with Calum in a secondary vision card slot is all of a sudden going to have these vision cards, which you've never thought of. You've never thought of using Calum. I know that for a fact. You've never thought about it, but all of a sudden it's viable, right? And it's actually interesting at that. So lots of things to consider here. Let's go ahead and look at some other vision cards and talk about how this is going to apply and the way that we think about them. Let's go ahead and start looking at 2 different vision cards here. New test subjects, which is going to be the Lucia ranged attack vision card. And then we're going to look at Frederica's Dream. Now, Lucia's vision card is an incredible option for a sub vision card. Now, you could make the argument kind of either way, but with a sub test subject's vision card, you're going to get the dexterity main stat 50% from this vision card, right? So you're going to get dexterity from this, whereas opposed to if you look at Frederica's Dream has no dexterity. Now, you also might make an argument though that, you know, new test subjects though has unit attack resistance up on it, and it's only 12 unit attack resistance, and it has missile attack up, but it's only 25 missile attack up. So you're kind of wondering like, well, maybe I want that unit attack resistance up 12, because otherwise I'm only going to get 20% of it if it's in the secondary VC slot. But then you realize Frederica's Dream has plus 35 missile attack. So what you're basically doing is you're going to get the best of both worlds. You're going to get Frederica's Dream in your main vision card slot, which means you're going to get that missile attack plus 35. You're going to get new test subjects in your sub vision card slot, right? Which means that you're going to get a little bit of missile attack, a little bit of unit attack resistance up, but you're also going to benefit from that dexterity. Now, if you had switched them, what's going to happen is all of a sudden you're only going to get missile attack up 25, unit attack resistance up 12. You'll get the full amount of dexterity, you know, and Frederica's Dream in a sub slot may not be the best, right? You may be better off running new test subjects in the test slot or in the sub slot. I actually think you would be. So, you know, this is an example of the things you're going to have to think about going forward when you are looking at vision cards. Golem, another interesting example, right? Now, I don't think everybody's gonna go out and start setting Golem as their vision card. However, the fact that max HP up gets 75%, right? So setting Golem as a sub vision card is essentially going to give you in a rainbow formation, right? HP plus 20% party wide. Pair that with a vision card in the main slot that gives you HP. That's going to give all of your units about plus 40% HP or more. It's bonkers, right? As a sub vision card, that's really good. Not only that, you're going to get 50% of his 500 HP, which is 250 HP. All of a sudden, if you're wanting to run a Drain Force build, setting Golem as a sub vision card is going to be a really good choice, right? You could set any of the other vision cards that have HP up percentage. Specifically, I'm thinking about the new Christmas vision card, right? We have Ahirman, like a discussion erupted in my chat, right? We have Ahirman coming. Why would you pull for the Christmas vision card? Well, the Christmas vision card has critical hit rate, attack, it has HP on it, you know, and we don't know the percentages yet. We don't know the numbers, but the fact that it has HP up on it means if you are running a wind composition team, that could be a way for you to benefit as a secondary VC to give HP up party wide to your wind units, along with critical hit rate and attack up in that secondary slot. I mean, that's a lot of substats that you could potentially be giving to your party, right? So everything is going to change when these secondary vision cards come out, and we need to start thinking about it now as a global community, because the Christmas vision card, for example, is coming out, and what's happening is simultaneously releasing in JP and global. It's tuned for JP, right? Like dual vision cards exist in JP. So what might happen is we might see these vision cards and we might be going, it's, you know, Ahirman's coming, I don't need this. But we might actually need it down the road for a secondary VC optimal wind formation, right? So there's so many things to think about now that are kind of off everybody's radar. Like, y'all, this is gonna change the game. It's gonna be super crazy. Just researching this, I've been like, holy shit. Like, I wish I knew this a month ago. Anyway, everybody, if you have questions, please put them in the comments down below. If you're looking for resources or the specific resource that I used, you know, a lot of it was word of mouth with Bismarck and a couple of the other data miners. I did also talk to a few JP players on the main Discord, but there is a document, an Excel document that you can access, which I will put in the description down below. So make sure you go and check that out. If you guys do want to support me, make sure you use my affiliate link, dig.gs/coins. You can also go to dig.gs/offer as well. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day.